Teacher, I've been struggling with grammar lately. I keep making these silly mistakes, you know. Hello David, what sort of mistakes are you making? It's the apostrophes. I'm never sure when to use them. Like, is it, it's, or, it's. That one's tricky. It's is a contraction for it is, or it has, while it's shows possession. For instance, it's raining today versus the cat chased its tail. Got it. I always mix them up. And there's also the confusion between each and every. When do we use them? Right. Each refers to individual items, while every is for the entire group. For example, each student has a book versus every student loves Fridays. Oh, that's a helpful distinction. But what about who and whom? I never know when to use which one. It's a common dilemma. Who is used for the subject of the sentence, like, who is coming to the party? While whom is used as the object, as in, to whom should I give this gift? That makes more sense now. And what about less and fewer? I sometimes mix them up too. Less is used for uncountable things, while fewer is for countable items. For instance, there is less sugar in my coffee, versus fewer people attended the event. You know, grammar is such a maze. I've also been wondering about among and between. When do we use them? Ah, that's a good question. Between is used with two items or individuals, while among is for three or more. So, the deal is between two companies, versus he shared the candies among the kids. That's a handy distinction, but I still get confused with who and whom. Could you explain a bit more? Sure thing. Who is for the subject, like, who is going? While whom is for the object, such as, to whom did you speak? Remember, who does the action, and whom receives it. I see. It's starting to make more sense. How about the difference between there, and there? That one always trips me up. Absolutely. There refers to a place, there shows possession, and there is a contraction for they are. Like, there is a cat on the roof, their house is beautiful, and they're going to the movies. Oh, that's a good way to remember them. And what about it's and its? I keep getting those mixed up. That's a common one. It's is the contraction for it is or it has, while its shows possession. Like, it's a sunny day, versus the dog wagged its tail. Right. Thanks for the clarification. But I also struggle with effect and effect. Can you help me with that? Of course. Affect is a verb meaning to influence or change, while effect is a noun signifying the result or consequence. For example, the rain affected my mood, and the effect of the rain was a flooded street. These distinctions are invaluable. Oh, and what about lay and lie? They always seem interchangeable to me. They are quite similar, but lie means to recline or rest, and it doesn't require a direct object. On the other hand, lay needs a direct object and means to place something down. Like, I lie on the beach, versus, I lay the book on the table. Ah, that clears things up. You're an expert in grammar, teacher. Thanks. It's fascinating to unravel these grammar puzzles. That's right, so tell me, teacher, I've been pondering over farther and further. Can you explain the difference? Absolutely. Farther relates to physical distance, whereas further refers to figurative distance or degree. For instance, the shop is farther down the street, versus, let's further discuss this topic. Ah, that's an interesting distinction. But what about good and well? I often mix them up. That's a common one. Good is an adjective describing nouns, while well is an adverb that modifies verbs. For example, he's a good painter, versus, she sings well. Got it. Thanks, teacher. Speaking of confusing words, what's the deal with except and except? They seem so similar. They do, but they have distinct uses. Accept means to receive or agree to something, like, I accept your apology. On the other hand, except means excluding something, like, everyone except John came to the party. Ah, that's a helpful way to differentiate them. And what about lie and lay? I still get confused. Sure, those can be tricky. Lie refers to reclining or resting without an object, like, I lie down for ANR. Lay needs an object and means to place something down, like, I lay the book on the table. Thanks, teacher. How about compliment and compliment? They sound alike but mean different things. Right. Compliment refers to praise or admiration, while compliment means to complete or go well with something. For example, she complimented his outfit, versus, the colors in the room complement each other. These distinctions are so crucial. And what about whose and whose? They're confusing for me. Absolutely. Whose is a contraction for who is or who has, while whose signifies possession. For instance, who's going to the party? Versus, whose book is this? That's a useful way to remember them. Grammar is fascinating but intricate. Oh, and lose and loose trip me up. Can you clarify? Certainly. Lose is a verb meaning to misplace or fail to win, like, don't lose your keys. On the other hand, loose is an adjective indicating something not tight or free, like, his shirt is loose. Teacher, what about effect and effect? I often get confused between the two. That's a classic one. Affect is a verb and implies influence or change, such as, the new policy will affect our budget. Meanwhile, effect is typically a noun, denoting the result or outcome, like, the new policy had a positive effect on our budget. Ah, that's a subtle yet significant difference. And what about, furthermore, and, moreover? They seem similar in meaning. Yes, they both indicate additional information, but, furthermore, is slightly more formal and often used to introduce a point that builds upon the previous one. Moreover, emphasizes a new point that supports the existing argument. That's helpful to know. You're really shedding light on these subtleties. But what about imply and infer? They're a bit tricky. Indeed, they're often mixed up. Imply means to suggest or hint at something without explicitly saying it. Like, she implied that I should leave. On the other hand, infer means to deduce or conclude. From evidence or clues, as in, from his tone, I inferred that he was upset. Thanks for clearing that up, teacher. There's so much to grasp in grammar. What about principle and principle? They sound alike but have different meanings. Absolutely. Principal usually refers to a person, such as a school principal or the main sum of money. Principle, on the other hand, signifies a fundamental truth, rule, or belief, like, she has strong principles. Wow, those nuances are crucial. And what about your and your? People often mix them up. Yes, they do. Your is a possessive pronoun, indicating ownership, like, is this your book? On the contrary, your is a contraction for you are, such as, you're doing a great job. I appreciate your help, teacher. These distinctions are really starting to make sense. What about then and than? They're quite similar too. True, they're homophones but they have different uses. Then refers to time or sequence, like, we'll meet at the cafe, then go to the cinema. Meanwhile, than is used in comparisons, such as, she is taller than her sister. Definitely. You've been a huge help. I guess practice will make perfect. Absolutely. Consistent practice and keeping these rules in mind will sharpen your grammar skills in no time.
Listeners, I hope you like this conversation. If you cool and improve your English a little more, please subscribe to the channel and share this video with friends. And if you want to support this channel, you can join us or click on the Super Think button. Thanks.